I said, no. So I sat here and I did what I said I would do. You did not do what you agreed to do. He says, well, that's just an accident mistake. I said, sir, I don't explain this to you. If you're 12 years old, 20 years old, 120 years old, it's not a mistake. It's a lifestyle. You've led your life to believe that you could perform such inactions and it's okay. It's justifiable, or you'll just keep saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And the judge ain't going to go for it. The judge, that's why the judge is there, to see if you're really an honorable man. Did you really try? Did you really do your best effort? Did you really show the world that they should have pity and they should forgive you if you trespass? Should they? Or you're just a slickster. You're like, well, you know what? Mama loved me. I'm cute. You know what? I could get away with murder. I could just say I'm sorry and whatever. Bull. Baloney. So like I said, that was the other phone call I had just a little while ago, just when you started up the show. And I told the guy I'll call him back later, or he'd call the show and ask me questions on the show. But like I said, it's a lifestyle. And if you can't do something simple, like text message when you say you're going to text message, or show up when you say you're going to show up, if you don't show up, it's like, okay, did you fail to appear in court? Yeah. Did you put up a bond? Yeah. Did you give him your word? Yeah. That's why Dean Clifford's sitting in jail. Dean Clifford was told he put up a bond. He didn't fail. He failed to appear, to answer to the bond. He's like, I answered it with paper. No, you said you'd physically reappear as the man representing the person. Now appear as the person in the form of man. Do it. Then say to them, I don't believe you have jurisdiction or control over the man. Then leave. But you have to show up. You gave them your word, and you're going to have to show up. So now they're not going to give you another bond. They're not going to release you until the day of your trial because they don't trust you at your word anymore. That's something what happened to Mark in Atlanta. It was going from whatever he was supposed to appear, didn't appear, bond, something happened, and they said, well, now that you're on the bond for the pot charge, we're going to hold you here until the day of the trial. And down in Atlanta, you're going to wait a year or two for the trial. So I understood why he said, well, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I'm going to cut a plea and get the hell out. Yeah, that's right. Because you're on bond. And when you do something wrong when you're on bond, I don't care if it's a traffic ticket. I don't care if it's spitting on a sidewalk. That's what the judge told me in North Carolina with the moonshine charge. He says it's a misdemeanor, $300 fine, 3 years unsupervised probation. But he told me, he said, I warn you, you spit on a sidewalk, you jaywalk, you do anything, the slightest thing wrong where a cop talks to you. The cop says, what are you doing this? You know it's a violation. You know you just farted or you just burped. Let me see who you are. He runs me, oh, you're on probation. Oh, you're on bond. You're out on, you're on recognizance. Oh, okay. So then they're going to arrest me. They're going to give me a nice little rest and some nice little respite in a nice little resting area. They're going to put me in a nice little resting cage. They're going to arrest me. And they're going to hold me there. And they're going to say, well, you know what? Farting in public or burping or crossing you, it's really not that big of a deal. But you agreed that you would not do anything while you were on probation. And you did do something. Anything. I don't give a F what the hell you did. You did a little F in something. I don't care what you did. So now we're going to hold you here until the day of the trial. Oh, what's the trial going to be? For the moonshine. Now the moonshine is going to come all the way back from the beginning. It doesn't matter if I did it for 2 years and 354 days. I was a day, 353 days. I was a day or two short. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's going to go back to day 0 because I broke my word. So when people says, well, I told you I'd be here, but I wasn't here. You broke your word. You said you'd do something, you wouldn't do it, and you would do it, or you will do it, but you won't do it. Now, which one is it? So how are we to, why should we deal with you ever again? And that's exactly what the courts are doing. So like I said, that was a perfect example. I was hoping, I'm pretty sure he's on, I don't know what his name is on this thing, but I'm pretty sure he's got his hand up, and he told me he had his hand up. So,
is he from Washington?
No, he was. Let me see.
Virginia.
No, he was. No, his number is WNC, like West North Carolina. So, like I said, I'm sure he doesn't want to talk to me right now, man. Unless you're just going to keep saying, hey, dude, I'm sorry. Hey, dude, I'm sorry. It's like, look, maybe if you were 8 years old, 12 years old, that makes sense. But if you're a man and this is your lifestyle and this is the way you do things, when you go into the court, you have to conduct yourself at all times. I mean, it's funny. It's like there was a great Star Trek episode where oh, you said you were going to call me. I'm calling in now. Oh, that's too funny. So there's a great Star Trek episode where the Captain Kirk was switched with another Captain Kirk, an evil Captain Kirk, bad Captain Kirk. And the good Captain Kirk realized he was in a negative world, like in a bad world, and he was the bad guy. And everybody in the Enterprise was bad people. And the good captain and the bad captain was shipped over to the good world. And, you know, it was on a 60-minute show, 58 minutes was the good captain trying to, you know, survive the bad world. And the last 2 minutes was when the captain came over, the good captain came over back home. He said, wow, that was freaky, like Mr. Spock. I was over in the bad world, and I had to act bad all the time. He says, man, that was amazing. He says, your evil Mr. Spock was, I think he was catching on that I wasn't really bad, that there was some good in me. He said, how long did it take you to figure out the bad, evil Captain Kirk was on this side of this dimension? He said, oh, it took us 2 seconds. We realized you were out of your effing mind. You were out of total control. You were just pure evil. We knew that wasn't you because you wouldn't do such a thing. See, it's very easy for a civilized man to act uncivilized, but it's very hard for an uncivilized man to act civilized. It's very hard for a person to act like a man, but it's very easy for a man to act like a person. So the judges are just looking. Are you a person or are you a man? And the judge could tell the difference. Is this you know, individual acting like a person, or is he acting like a man? It's like I said, if you watched, I'm trying to remember, I don't know if it was The Prince and the Pauper. I think that was the movie that the Dickens novel. I think that's what it was. And where the kid looked like a twin, he had like a twin, or he had somebody look just like him. And the kid tried to pretend he was the king, but he was failing miserably. Nobody was believing it. And then the king, even though he came back and he was dressed as a pauper, as soon as the guy walked into the courtroom, everybody realized that this pauper, even though there was a king with a crown on, it's like, that's the real king, just by the way he was acting, just by what he was saying, just by the way he was moving through the court. They knew instantly, even though he was dressed as a pauper, this guy has been trained to act like the king. This guy knows the rules. This guy knows how to hold court. The guy, even though he has a crown on and he looks like the king, we're not buying it. We're not getting it. It's just not going to fly. So see, that's what I'm trying to say. It's how you conduct yourself in public. It's a lifestyle. And then once you understand the lifestyle and you start accepting the lifestyle, you'll start to say, at first when you hear my kind of stuff, you'll say, oh boy, I'll get away with all kind of mayhem and nonsense. I'll learn this stuff and I'll make $1 billion. I'll jerk the banks and credit card companies. I'll really F with them. And man, I'll drive 1,000 miles an hour and F with the cops. But then as you progress along and you start understanding the concept of responsibility and liability of that of a man, then people people call me up and they say, you know what? I was thinking about being slick with this stuff, but he says, you know what? The more and more knowledgeable I've become, the more and more I want to do the right thing, and I don't want to do sneaky stuff, and I don't want to take advantage of those who, of the banks or the police. And it's like, yeah, it's amazing how you start to, you start to turn. You start to say, holy crap, this is different. This is a different way of looking at life. This is a whole different way of being. It's like, yeah. It's kind of fun. Like I say to people, I've never had a credit card in my life. I've never had a mortgage in my life. Should I have credit cards? You better believe it. Can I pay them off a penny a year for the next $10 billion? Of course I can. Could I have a great credit rating at the same time? You betcha. But to me, it's like, nah. You know what? Let me work with my hands. Let me produce a product, or let me serve the people. Let me do something. Let me not just try to escape through life by just in paper and pen and ink. Let me try to do something, that has worth, that has value. Not just like let's shift numbers on a ledger sheet. Let's just push a keyboard and push a decimal point here and there. Let's try to act ethical. Let's see if we can do this. Because if anything ever happens, like I said, a sunspot hits and the whole world goes black, you're still going to need decent people running around. Somebody's got to try to know how to, act towards their fellow man. And I'm just trying to teach people how to act. But like I said, too, and then when Catherine and Joe, they were doing sentencing, and I really wish that my voice came in crystal clear, because there's a lot of good stuff I was telling them. And they're going to call me up sometime during the week, and I'll tell them if they recorded it. I tell everybody, you better be recording me, or I'm going to get pissed. And it's so funny. It's just so opposite of the way everybody's trained. It's like, you're recording me. I hope you're not recording me. I hope this is just between you and me. It's like, oh, dude, you better be recording this, and you could give it to everybody on planet Earth. I have no shame in my game, and I'll tell you exactly what the hell I think, and if you don't like it, that's okay. That's just what I believe. Because a lot of people don't seem to understand is when the Crown or the state prosecutor or anybody, even another man, says that, I saw you on my front yard, or we saw you, in a bank, and we also saw space aliens, and we saw, it's like, look, dude, whatever you thought you saw, lovely. You know what? Make your claim. Say I've done you wrong. Take me into an open court, and we'll determine what the jury determines. I'll bring my facts and my evidence, and I'll bring my case against you, that you're bringing a false claim against me, and you're causing me harm. And you bring your case forward and saying, I and a whole bunch of space aliens were sitting in the middle of the bank on Tuesday morning. That's fine. If that's what you witnessed, if that's what you believe, that's fine. If that's your conviction, if that's your belief, and you will convict yourself if your convictions are not true. If the jury says, no, we don't believe you witnessed what you witnessed, and the guy could scream up and down and say, I know it was you. I know it was 300 space aliens. I know what I saw. Hey, dude, you know what? Nobody's saying you didn't see what you saw. The only problem was, did I cause you any direct harm, injury, or loss? No. Then guess what? You're causing me harm, injury, and loss by your ridiculous claim, your ridiculous story, your ridiculous, you didn't have your car registered, or you didn't pay your income tax, or you were jaywalking. Okay, who did I harm, dude? That's supposed to be, okay, that's fine. You don't think that's a proper thing to do? That's fine. That's your belief. You know what? The only problem is there's no actual any kind of damages. Do you have any damages, any physical damages? Not that your feelings are hurt or you were really. Where's the damages? Give me the bill. Itemize the bill. So, that's what we were talking to Catherine and Joe about that because they were going for sentencing, and the whole thing with sentencing is just keep challenging jurisdiction. Just keep saying, She says, well, when they call out a name, what do you say? You say, I, the man, known as Joe, am present in the court, and I, the person as Joe is present in the court. Be the person and be the man. I said, be both. And she's like, well, how are we going to play that? I said, well, obviously put it in writing. And you just say, your person, the prosecutor, and your person, the judge, held a trial against my person, the defendant. Lovely. The only problem is I've been challenging jurisdiction the whole entire time. I kept saying by your person, intercourse with my person is causing either man or the woman harm. And I wish for you to stop, to cease and desist many times. I said, I don't enjoy playing this game. I don't have any comprehension, with your rules, with your Crown rules. I'm not a member of your law society, or a legal society. It's not a law society, it's a legal society. I'm not a member of your society, and I wish to be let alone. But you continue to pursue me and prosecute me and persecute me. Now, like I said, you better have a claim before the court when you're going for sentencing. I said, do you have that little piece of paper that they gave you where they had three options for you? You plead guilty now, pay like $100,000 and go to jail for 6 months. You plead you wait 6 months and you plead, change your mind in 6 months, we're going to charge you $1 million and put you in jail for 2 years, and you got it where it says, we'll put you in jail for 10 years if you wait for trial, and we'll take everything you got. Do you still got that piece of paper? And she's like, yeah. I said, good. That's going to be your claim. You're going to say, I, a woman, or I, a man, claim the wrong of trespass, extortion, see Exhibit A, and put it in there. And then place your order. Say, this is what you order the court. Because of this extortion, this is the harm that is, befallen upon you. I said, and then place your order. I say, the order is like, I wish, that this case, whatever the case number is discharged, it's an entirety. I said, if you want to place another order, then place a second order. Say, and I wish for the compensation of X amount of dollars. But don't just make one long, ridiculous order. Make it like separate checks. Make it like a la carte. Just make this order, then make this order, and then make a different order. Make multiple orders. Make as many orders as you wish to make, but make it on separate checks. Don't bundle it all in one. So that would have been a fun one for you guys to hear, because that one lasted 43 minutes. And I was talking to Gus this week, and I think it was you, Gus. Weren't you the one who was telling me that you?
No, Gus said it wasn't him.
Okay, there was somebody who's telling me that the man, the other side, who's ever being foreclosed on, they were waving a piece of paper, and they were trying to get their attention. You know what? I wonder if it's the man from Canada, the maple syrup guy. I'm trying to remember who called me up this week, and I talked to them for a while, and they said that they were going through a foreclosure, and the bank attorney, the man kept saying, who was coming in there, who was summoned to appear, kept saying that he's a man, he's a man, he's a man, and he does not, and he just wishes to pay off the debt to his fellow man. If any man is going to come forth with a claim of a debt, let him bring the debt forward and let him verify it's true. And he said that the bank, or the representative of the bank, kept waving the paper. Here's the paper here, and he's like, verify it's true. And is that the man who's verifying it's true? And he's like, no. So he just kept saying to the court, I'm just here to pay the debt and verify it's true. And he said the guy kept throwing, his arms up in the air, like doing jumping jacks, like it's right here, it's right here. He said the second dimension was trying to be recognized by the court. And the man in the third dimension refused to look at the second dimension. He said, I ain't playing this fucking game. I'm not even looking at this guy. I'm not bringing him to life. I'm not doing an effing thing. And he said that the judge, the foreclosure did not go through. So this is what I'm saying. I get very upset when I see people intercoursing with the second dimension. And sometimes I get really upset when I say, what the hell's wrong with you? How many times do I got to tell you? It's not real. Don't make it real. Don't bring this into your world. If you bring it into this world, you're opening Pandora's box. You're opening it. Leave their case. Leave it shut. Leave it sealed. Do not step into their world, or you're going to be a part of their world. So, let me see if it was Krista. Because I don't remember. Did I talk to you, Bali, about what the man did in court on Tuesday?
I think you did, yeah, because I spoke to you Wednesday, so yeah, I think you did.
So that must have been it. I wonder if Chris is on the show or whatever. Let me see if Chris is here, man. Let me see if he's there he is. Chris, C-R-I-S. I think I spelled his name like Maple Syrup Chris or something like that. Yeah, there it is. Chris Maple Syrup. Yeah. I try to remember everybody by something. Like I say, Bali, brilliant, Yeah, right. Let me call it.
What do you want?
Yeah. Let me see if I can add this guy. Let's see if I can add him. I'm not sure. I'll try.
Cool.
Hello.
Hey, Chris, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad, man. I'm starting to do a show here, and it's only like an hour, man. But did you were you the man who was talking to me about the foreclosure? And there was some guy waving his, the court. Was that you?
No, nothing about any foreclosures.
I'm trying to find. I thought it was Gus who was telling me earlier this week. I said a man went into with a foreclosure, and he just went in and said a very simple, let the man come forth with a claim of a verifiable debt. That is the money overdue. Was that you or no?
No, we've never dealt with any foreclosures.
Too bad. Somebody I was talking to, that's so bad about talking to so many people, and I'm not calling Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
I could have sworn it was Gus. Then I said, well, maybe it was Chris, and then it's like, well, maybe it's a guy. It's like, Australia. It's like, I'm just gonna wait for that person, during the week and try to. I try to put my phone calls on the show, but sometimes they come in good, sometimes they don't. So I can look on my phone calls during the week and try to just upload it onto the show. But no, the man was just saying something very simple that, he said the bank, attorney said that, here's the paperwork that you signed, here's the paperwork, here's what you owe. He's like, oh, are you the man who's going to come forth and verify the debt? And the bank attorney said no. And then the guy just kept saying to the magistrate or the judge, look, I'm here to settle any debt. I'm just waiting for a man to come forth with the verifiable. I'm just here to pay the damn debt. Just can somebody come here and come forth with the bill? And he said the guy started like doing jumping jacks. Like, here it is. It's over here. It's over here. It's over here. And he's like, are you going to verify it's true? And he's like, no. So he just ignored the guy. He was like, it was so funny, and the foreclosure did not go through. So I'm trying to remember who told me this during the week. But like I said, I talked to so many people, I can't remember, man. Who told me this?
Yeah, I bet that's a lot. You probably talk to 20, 30 people a week.
Oh, man, yeah, I can't imagine how many people I talk to.
Well, don't you said that you record all your calls on your phone. Could you just go back and try to find it?
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Then I got to try to go back and find out, I talk to 10 people a day, and then I got to go back. And it was
just try to scrub through it all would take a while.
Yeah, it wasn't the main story. It was somebody talking to you, like what happened with you and your dad in court, and we started talking, and then he said, oh, yeah, by the way, it was a really funny story, man. Up here in Canada, or over here in England, over here in Australia, what? And so, the guy went in with a foreclosure. Yeah, he just would not acknowledge that the second dimension existed. He would not acknowledge that there was, and he told the court, that I'm a man. It's like, if there's no man present here, this is common law. I don't stand under legalese. I don't understand. I don't comprehend it. I'm an idiot in legalese. I just want to talk man to man. Who's the man that's going to come forward? And the magistrate or the judge totally recognized that. Well, that's what happened kind of with you on Tuesday, whatever. You know, what were you saying about the attorney for the Crown kept saying that he didn't understand or whatever? Oh, yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit what happened there, man?
About what happened in court?
Yeah.
Yeah, the attorney just said he didn't understand the paperwork my dad filed, and then my dad said the judge said, he's like, yeah, I got that paperwork, and he said, yeah, I understand.
Right.
And that was the gist of it.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's a quick gist.
Yeah.
Did you understand what that meant, what they were saying, what they were doing?
No, not really.
Oh, did I catch you at a bad time or something?
No. So I was just a little bit distracted because they were asking me for my Air Miles card.
Oh.
My dad is paying for some stuff, and they kind of just were bombarding me with questions. So now I'm good now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because like I said, I told Bali what happened. And I think I told Gus what happened. That you went into court on a Thursday or Friday, and you put some paperwork in.
So it was actually Monday. So we were going to put it in Friday, but we just really wanted to get it nailed down properly. We went over it a lot more on the weekend, and we had it Monday. So we went in Monday morning, and we made sure we got the copies in right, wrote down case numbers on each paper, and every single cop we filed the notices to. So we had so many copies of things, and then we went in, and we filed it with the clerk, and then they told us to take it up to the prosecution's office, and then that's when Andy was – well, no, I actually went to the secretary. And she says, oh, what's this? He's like, oh, we were just told to bring this to the prosecutor's office. And she's like, oh, okay. And she started looking at it. She goes, oh, hold on, because we were about to leave. She went to the back and then to go, I guess, talk to the prosecutor named Andy. And then all of a sudden, a couple of minutes later, Andy Wyatt comes through. And he comes through. He goes, yeah, what's this? I'm like, oh, it's just we were filing some paperwork. He goes, oh, he's like, here, you can take the rest of these pieces of paper. He thought they were just copies of the same thing. But they were, if he actually read through it all, it was basically copies of notices, but with different names on for cops, right? So he's like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, whatever. No big deal. I don't care. So we kind of laughed at that, and then we walked out. And then we had court the next day.
They were all notices to your fellow man that they trespassed. And even though that they were, under the color of law, you still believe that they've done wrong.
Yep.
That's what the notice was. but yours was the short version.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, you didn't give nothing to no cops. Yeah. You didn't say nothing about any cops. You said something about your fellow man, cloaked on the color of law.
Oh yeah. That's what I meant.
That's what you did. Well, like I said, I just try to get people to learn a little bit quicker and a little bit easier, other than saying that they might think that you actually gave notice to a prosecutor that a policeman did something wrong. The policeman did nothing wrong. The policeman's perfect. The policeman's beautiful. The policeman is the best thing on planet Earth. It's the man who's cloaked under the color of law, who presumes and assumes the position of that of a police officer when he causes a trespass to his fellow man. He has done wrong, not the police officer. The man has.
Yeah, so I think we wrote in his full name. They sort of had his first and middle and last. We wrote that in, and I think you had in the note it stated, this person acting as an RTMP officer or whatever, right?
Right. Who at times may act. Right. Yes, just simple stuff. Right. Yeah. Well, like I said, see what I'm trying to do with my show. What we're trying to talk to people is I'm trying to get them. I'm a minimalist, but sometimes you actually have to say the man who at times acts as a police officer.
Definitely.
It's. I try to say everything to the minimum, but sometimes that is the minimum. A man who acts at times as a police officer. Mm-hmm. That's the minimum. You can't say the police officer because they say, oh, police officer, oh, they're immune. Oh, police officers, whew, they can't do anything wrong. Oh, police officer, in the dictionary, they're the most wonderful, beautiful creatures on planet Earth. So everybody knows a police officer can't do wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
But a man can.
Uh-huh.
And he could be cloaked as a police officer. He could be disguised as one. He could look like one, but he's not acting like one.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So this is what like I say to people when they say something simple like, well, go after the man who acts as the judge. It's like, you can't sue a judge. Of course you can't sue a judge. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Well, you just told me sue the judge. No, I didn't. I said go after the man who acts as the judge.
Yeah, big difference.
Huge. There's no comparison. It's not even on the same planet. It's not even the same dimension. Not even the same level. I didn't even say anything even similar. There is no, well, that's the same thing. No, it's not. It's just like when a kid asks Harry Reid, and I tell people to watch it a million times, man, on YouTube. That's the best description of IRS and liability for taxes to a centralized government. The kid asks Harry Reid 100 times. Harry Reid comes with the same answer. Thank God for Harry Reid, because he right to the point. No bullshit. Just straight to the point. And he said what was true. The kid just said, well, taxes are voluntary. Like in all these nations, taxes are voluntary. And Harry Reid said, well, yeah, absolutely. But if I don't pay my taxes, I go to jail. Yeah, he probably will. Well, I thought you said taxes are voluntary. Of course they are. Well, if I don't pay my taxes, I'm going to go to jail. Well, yeah, you will. Well, wait, sir, you said it's voluntary. Yes. But you said if I don't pay them, you're going to go to jail. Yes. He's like, sir, you're saying completely. He says, no, you're asking me two completely opposite. They're not even on the same damn dimension. And Harry Reid was exactly right. And this poor kid, he was beside himself. And I just kept laughing. I said, Harry, this is like child's play to Harry. This is like a 2-year-old talking to him. And this poor guy, I'm sure he's got some sort of degree. Probably went to liberal arts college. His mommy, daddy probably, won the beer bong contest, on spring break all the time too. But it doesn't mean that he knows what the hell he's talking about. He thinks the words that are coming out of his mouth, like synonyms, or it means the same thing. No, it's not. It sounds similar. It's not the same thing.
Well, yeah, definitely.
So, like I said, people are just sloppy and they're lazy within the words that they use. So when I use words, like when I have Bali in England, Bali is funny. He wrote a claim. And it's pretty cool that I said, you got to get it all on one sheet of paper, and it's got to be, small. I said, do it as small as you can. So it went from whatever, 4 pages to 3 to 2 to 1 page. in a week, in 3 or 4 weeks I was down there. And it's so funny. He got it down to like one page. It was like 2 fonts, but 5,000 words. It's like, oh, that's kind of cute, but that's not what I'm talking about. We got to minimalize what we say because you have to support every single word. Every single word you've got to carry. That's a heavy burden. So why don't we just, thank God he left his claim in the car. I mean, it's just a stroke of fate. Wonderful stroke. Because I would have let him put that ridiculous thing that he had in there into the court. And then when he said, well, hey, Karl, this kind of blew up, it's like, yeah, what blew up? Oh, this claim. What claim? That thing you put in there was ridiculous. How are you going to remember verbatim every single word that you put in that thing without even looking at that piece of paper? How are you going to support it? If that paper's not there, if the paper disappears, if the paper, they put the paper behind their back and they say, okay, now read it. Tell us what your claim states. And you're not going to know. You're going to be like, well, did you take a word away from what you said, or did you add a word? Well, then your claim's not true. You got to verify it. You got to say it with your mouth. You can't read it off the paper. You got to live it. It's a lifestyle. It's what you believe. I don't want to see that you're reading it off a script. How do I know you wrote that? Maybe somebody else wrote it. You know what? I think you're a fraudster. You know what? I think you're a charlatan. I think you're bullshit. And you're going to lose. And they're going to make you look like a clown in court. Everybody's going to start laughing at you. The judge, the bailiffs, the jury, everybody's going to start laughing at you. Make it simple. So we got lucky when he forgot it. We just made it, 8 words, like his name, and, claim the wrong of trespass, see Exhibit A. Or claim the wrong of trespass, claim of trespass, see Exhibit A. Or claim the wrong of trespass, see Exhibit A. And Exhibit A was basically the cop's police report. And that's basically what you used, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your claim, what did it say? Do you remember? Because I don't have it off the top of my head. Do you kind of remember it off the top of your head?
We were claiming trespass, for one, and then we were stating that this man trespassed upon our land, basically, and we put C Exhibit A, we put the bill of sale, and then that's when we got into our domestic authority. After that, in the next one, that, we were in our domestic authority at the time of the trespass, and we were willing to forgive all wrongdoers if they stopped proceeding against us.
Right. Okay.
And the second exhibit was also the arrest. So.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I think that was the first exhibit was the arrest. Claim the wrong.
The first exhibit we put in was the bill of sale, and then the second exhibit was the arrest.
Okay. All right. Yeah, like I said, I remember it was a couple. It wasn't too amazing. It wasn't too complicated. I'm sure the judge really appreciated it. That it wasn't like this ridiculous Freeman nonsense.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure they all got a sigh of relief and say, "Oh, oh yeah, go ahead and tell about what the attorney that you had an attorney."
Oh, how he withdrew.
Well, how he left.
Yeah, after we filed, my dad sent a notice to the attorney saying that he didn't want to be his lawyer anymore. He just wanted to be co-counsel from now on. He then called my dad at 6:30 in the morning after he got the notice and asked him why. And then my dad explained why. And the guy thought it was just kind of like silly stuff and nonsense. And then he says, you know what? I'm just going to withdraw is what I'm going to do.
Well, what did your attorney want your dad to do? Why your dad?
He wanted my dad to file or to say that he was guilty, because what he could do is if he said he was guilty, he'd put off sentencing until May. Whereas if he didn't say he was guilty, they'd basically put sentencing a lot faster.
Right, and Barley was talking about that earlier when he was talking. He was saying that why, because he asked, go ahead, Barley, say that again to him about how they have a lot of responsibility to the court.
Oh, so I was speaking to a solicitor, and it was actually my next door neighbour, and it was the solicitor was his friend. So he put him on speakerphone, and I told him a little bit about common law and stuff, and he said, well, I have a solicitor who's a friend of mine, but he goes, I don't think he'll be able to help me. And I said, why? What did he say? And he said, well, he told me just to take the points. And I said, okay. And I said, well, when he said, let me ring him up. Maybe you can ask him a few questions, and maybe between you can figure out a plan. And I said, well, my plan in my head's clear, but I don't think you quite fully understand it because he's French. He only understands code. And he passed over the phone, and I spoke nicely to the solicitor. And the first question I asked was, I said, I've just got to ask this real, burning question. That I know my neighbour's your friend, because obviously he's ringing you out of hours late at night. And I said, if you were representing him, or if he paid you some money, who do you have allegiance to first? Who is your duty to first? Is it to the court, or is it the guy who paid you? And flatly, he answered, the court.
Yeah, so just hang on there a second, Bali. A lot of people don't really understand that when I try to explain it to them a million times. So it's you court, when it's your...
Let me explain it in a different way then. So imagine you've joined a members, a club, let's call it the legal society. So you've gone through your training, you understand their terms, conditions, beliefs, and then when you engage with, say, a different society, clearly, if you only trained and went to university and only knew about the legal society, then surely you're in some way going to be biased. So even if somebody from a different society, from mankind, turns up and gives you money to represent them, again, your origins or your allegiance, because of your training over the years, is still the legal society. And hence, when you're turning up to an administrative court, it's mainly the legal society. The judge is part of the legal society. The other barristers or solicitors from the legal society. Everybody's from legal society except for you.
Well, I'm glad you jumped in, because that was another 5 minutes of tape that you were able to eat up. But no, that's not where I was going with it. What I was saying is, he said that his first allegiance and duty is to the court, correct?
That's right.
Okay, now, why do you think I tell people to make it their court? Then the barristers, the solicitors, and all the clerks, whose duty and allegiance do they have to? Who do they have to hold their allegiance to?
Mankind.
That's right, you, because it's your court. That's why they don't want to give you your court. That's why they don't want to turn the courthouse over to you, because they don't have a freaking clue what you're going to do, what you're going to, what you're going to order, what hoops you're going to have them jump through. They don't want to let you take over. They're like, hell no. That's why they're fighting so hard, because they know the power of taking over the court. See, I'm glad you totally missed it. The first duty and allegiance is to the court. So when you file your claim and you make it your court, their duty and allegiance flips over to you, the man. You're the new chief. You're the guy in charge. You're the king. You're the top cheese. They don't want to give it to you. What, are you kidding me? They don't want to work for you. They'll say, no, you got to follow these rules. Just be pro se. Just be at the bottom of the totem pole, and just be happy that we even let you exist. Like, no, this is a public building. You're public servants, just like Gus was saying a little bit while ago. I mean, it's great. I mean, I like it when people like Gus. It sounds like me with a New England accent. It's like, hey, so it's great that he's getting it. He's understanding what I'm saying about the public servants and the public courthouses. And are you still on there, Gus?
Yeah.
Did Gus mute up? Yeah.
Yeah, I muted.
Yeah,
I'll be saying it in French pretty soon.
Yeah. Like I said, man, tell Chris this, because I just called him up, and him and his dad and I are working together. So try to tell Chris what you said earlier to Bali then about the public courthouse.
Well, the public the public courthouse is for everyone to use, and a real good comparison is the library. I know if I go to the library looking for a book on watermelons or how to build a little red cart, they're gonna tell me exactly where the book is. It's on the second floor. It's in the back corner. You know, they're gonna direct me where it's at. It's in this section. They're extremely helpful, and I don't understand why when we go to the courthouse we don't get the same treatment. You know, I'm a man. I'm in court. I'm looking to file a client. What is what's the process that you guys like to see? Because I'd like to be as accommodating as possible, make your job easier, and they just look at you like you're some turd that fell off the ship. You know, they don't want to help you out. They're because they're used to dealing with attorneys that are all supporting each other. You know, they have a system of doing things. The legislature controls the Bar Association, sort of. Here in New Hampshire, the Supreme Court makes the rules which have the force and effect of law for the courts. But
what are they called? What are they called? What are they called, Gus?
Court rules.
No, they're called codes. What kind of codes are they called?
Oh, they're statutes.
The canon codes?
I don't know. I was looking that up. I couldn't find anything on canon code.
Yeah, canon code is what the Bar Society and the judges, or how they all must, their ethics. That's their, like, religion. That's like their Bible, is the canon code. So if you're looking for how the Bar Association, how the judges, how the court clerks, how they are supposed to act or not act, you look for the canon codes in your district or territory, province or state. You look for the canon codes. And you can show them when they're acting out of turn, because you're claiming it's your court. And they have a duty and allegiance to the court. And then that's how you call them out. You call them out, not only is it my belief that you're a fellow man, and this is a public building, you're a public servant, and you must abide by what I wish. Not only do I believe it, but when you have a duty and obligation to the court, and according to your canon code, the court, which is usually 99% a state attorney taking over the court, the people taking over the court, the state of New Hampshire, versus somebody 99% of the time, you have a duty and obligation to them, right? Yeah. Well, now you have a duty to me. Why? Because I'm now in control of the court. I'm making a claim to have access to this courthouse at this time. And I know you don't want to interfere with my right to access this courthouse, do you, Bob? Not only, Bob, can you not do it, but you cannot do it as a judge. So that's how I use the comparisons. Like you always see me saying, not only is that my belief that you as a fellow man cannot interfere with my capacity of my ability to do X, Y, and Z. But doesn't it also state in your canon code, doesn't it maintain the position? Isn't it rigid? Isn't it maintaining a statute? Isn't it rigid? Isn't it defined within your code? Something similar in which it reads that the first duty and obligation of a solicitor is to the court, or to the judge is to the court, or to the court clerk is to the court. Whose court is this? Yes, it's a public courthouse. The courthouse and a court is not the same damn thing. You know why? It's got a couple extra letters. Whose court is this? This is what I did with that judge in 2007 when I did that with Judge Owings. And I made that very simple opening salvo. I said to him, "When is court open?" And he looked at the bailiff, and everybody remembers the rest of the story. He looked at the bailiff and says, they assigned me from the Alabama Supreme Court. I'm not quite aware when the court is open. Bailiff, when is the court open? 8:30 to 5 o'clock, sir. He said, 8:30 to 5 o'clock, call up, Mr. Lentz. One more time. Let me get this straight. One more time. I said, I want to ask you just one more time. And it's so funny watching the Attorney General's office and everybody on the other side, social service, and everybody starting to laugh. It's like, oh boy, here goes Carl. He's going to get thrown out of here in like 2 seconds. I said, let me do this one more time. I didn't ask you when the courthouse is open. I asked you, when is court open? He said, whenever you wish. And I looked over at the Attorney General, and they started to stop laughing. I said, and when may I make that wish? He's like, let's be reasonable about this, Mr. Lentz. I said, I'm a very reasonable man. When may I make a wish? When this court to be open? You see what I'm saying? So he understood exactly where I was going. The Attorney General's office didn't understand. The Social Service people didn't understand. The guardian ad litem didn't understand. But this judge knew exactly where I was going. I said, let's make something even simpler, because I threw him a curveball, because I knew what the true answer was. I said, what is the term of the court? Is it in six months? Because it's really a year. Where can you find all these? In canon code. When is the term of the court, sir? 6 months? He says, no, a year. That's right, I know. From the time I filed or from the time you were seated? From the time I was assigned the case and seated. Thank you. He said, yeah, I know. I know it was a year. I was just messing with you to see, what you were going to do. If you're just going to agree with me or you're going to tell me what was true. So then the Attorney General's office and the other people on the other side stopped freaking laughing altogether and realized, holy shit. They were saying to themselves, I guarantee they were saying, I don't even know what the hell Carl's talking about. It's like, yeah, because I'm reading canon code. I'm pulling them into their own freaking world. They've never had to deal with this. They've just bullshitted people so many times for so long that they don't even know their own damn rules. So I actually read the rules of their game. This is how you're going to. I said, who filed the claim into the court? Who filed the notices into the court? Who did it? He was like, well, you did, Mr. Lentz. Whose court is this? It's your court, Mr. Lentz. That's right. Absolutely right. I stopped looking at the judge. As I was questioning the judge, I stopped looking at him after the second question, and I was looking directly at the other side. That's right. It's my court. Exactly. Now, if I wish to convene court on Christmas Day at 1 o'clock a.m., what happens next, sir? He says, Carl, let's be very reasonable. Sir, answer the question. Well, the sheriff's department would call me up, and I'd come on my way down here, but I live like 100 miles away. You do know that. Sir, that's irrelevant. I'm asking you a simple question. What would you have to do? He said, I'd get up out of bed, and we'd convene court. That's right, at my leisure. That's right, at my leisure. That's right. When it pleases me, that's right. I act at my pleasure. I move at my leisure. That's right, like what I did when I went to Canada. They said, well, I thought you were up here for business. No, I don't need a permit. I don't need any kind of commercial license or code or, contract to come up here to Canada. I move at my leisure. I help these men at my pleasure. I said, it is up to me to decide. Nobody's forcing me. I'm not compelled to perform. I have no obligation or duty. This is not business. I'm not up here in a commercial capacity. I'm here at my leisure because it pleases me to do so. So it was a lot of fun talking to those guys. And like I said, it was the same thing as fun talking to the judge when the judge knows whose duty and obligation he has because whose effing court is it? So then I looked at the judge and I said, now, what does the prosecutor have to do at 1 o'clock on Christmas Day? They said, well, you will summons the sheriffs and you'll want to hold court and he'll, call up the prosecutor. And what will the prosecutor have to do? Well, he'll have to show up. But he'll probably say F call and F calls court, right? Because I'm nobody, right? I'm nothing. What happens next? He said, well, he will appear. I said, that's right. I'll issue out a warrant for his arrest, won't I? And they will bring him up here forthwith, won't they? And he said, absolutely. Yeah, we go get it. You ready to go? Yeah. All right. Yeah, we're going to run down to North Carolina and go try to go get that car. But I think that's a pretty good way to end that story. But like I said, the prosecutors, they realized when it's your court, whose court is it, courthouse. And I really loved the way Gus was talking before, saying that doing a dance hall venue like I do, that's great. It's a venue because you always see that in those legalese documents. You always see something that says venue and jurisdiction. Venue just means, hey, it's an effing building. It's paid for. We rented it out for a day. We rented it out for 2 days. We paid the filing fee. We're good to go. That's the venue. It's that simple. Nothing complicated. It's close to the defendant. It's not going to be a struggle for the witnesses to appear. They're all relatively close to this building. That's all it is. It's a building. That's all venue means. It's where freaking building we're going to meet up at. And jurisdiction just means how we're going to meet in it. In it is under the control. At is the venue. Jurisdiction is in. Under what control? How am I making you part of me? Where's their joiner? Where's the nexus? That's okay, Jim. I'll walk outside. No, it's okay, man. You can do it, man. Yeah, you have to turn the air compressor on. But yeah, that's funny. Yeah, you watch Gut's video where I'm working on a car doing the show. And yeah, I'm freezing my ass off right now in this frozen ass garage doing the show. I don't give a damn. You know? I gotta do what I gotta do. But yeah, if you want to call into the show, Chris, man, I'm probably gonna have to hang up because we're gonna be towing a trailer down the road and it gets kind of loud. But it's great talking to you. Yeah, it's great talking to you, and we'll work on the next piece of paper. Thank God you're dead and you were happy, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll work it out. And like I said, hopefully people will listen to this show. And like I said, and I try to get rid of these. See, that's why Canada, man, like I said, when I crossed over the border, when my name popped up, boom. I was so grateful that they recognized me as such an, yeah, sure, grab whatever you got to grab. That Canada recognized me as such a potential threat to the legal society. I love it. I mean, look, there's another guy, he went over to England and Bali slapped him around in his seminar. Who's that guy in Bali? Kevin Arnett. Was that the guy, Bali? Yeah. Remember? You can talk about Kevin. Yeah, you can talk about Kevin a little bit when I hang up. But see, Kevin can go all over the universe. Kevin can go all over the world and nobody stops him. Because there's not a thing he's saying that's ever going to produce any results. You know, it's just like that, you talk about all this crazy nonsense. But, okay, at the end of the day, like one guy said to me, he said he paid some guy like 10, 20 grand. He says, but at the end of the day, he says, Carl, I'd rather give you money. He says, because at the end of the day, the man was very wise and the man had a lot of great ideas. But bottom line, at the end of the day, how do we use this in practical application? How do we actually do anything with this damn thing? It's like, okay, Kevin Arnett, okay, McBride, the guy who's sitting in jail, that whatever he had going on, I forgot what he had going on. He had divine providence. Yeah, that's great, but how are you going to put this in real world application? How are we going to make any of this stuff work? It's like, look, if we were in Islamic land, I'd be showing you guys how to do, Sharia law. If we were in a common law land, I'll show you guys how to move a court in common law. If we were in Islamic law, I'll show you how to do it through, using the Quran. I'd be saying, look, their courts are all premised upon the teachings in the Quran. This is what you must do. And how do they move their world? They move it through canon code. What's the canon code based on? The Judeo-Christian belief. That's their canon code. Most people would say, what are you saying, Carl? Canon code, canon. Ain't that canon doesn't even canonize? It doesn't mean something to do with the church? Yes, absolutely. But wait a second, there's a separation of church and state. Yeah, well, you keep telling yourself that. You keep telling yourself that and see how far that's going to go. They don't want you to know. They want you to think it's all this ridiculous code nonsense and like some sort of statutory code or some acts of parliament nonsense. I'm not an actor. I'm not defined as a character in your parliaments, in your acts. That's ridiculous. I'm not in like Shakespeare. I'm not in play. I'm like an act of Romeo and Juliet. I'm not, one of the Capuletti. I'm not one of I'm not one of them. I'm not one of the actors. I'm not part of the, I'm not part of your society. I'm a man. The only one I have a duty and obligation to is my fellow man, of God, my Creator. Other than that, I got no duty and obligation to you if I do not wish, if it's too much of a burden, if I can't accept such a wonderful benefit at this time as being a citizen, or being a part of your act, or being part of your act of parliament. I can't accept such a wonderful benefit. Oh, that's nice. You call me an immigrant. That's lovely. But you know what? At this time, I ain't got time to play the game. At this time, I can't accept that you want to intercourse with me. I'm sorry, but at this time, I got better things to do. I want to act like a man and just go from point A to point B. And I don't want another man to get in my way. I don't care what fucking uniform and flag you're flying. Get the fuck out of my way. And that's the UN Charter. What, 1949? Is that what it was, Chris? Is that what you sent me?
Yeah, that was the Declaration of Human Rights.
Yeah. And did you ever find out what section that was? Was it like Section 14 or something like that, or Section 4? Or?
I think my dad said it was Section 13 is what.
Okay, 13 is a damn good number, man, because there's like 12 disciples in Christ at the Last Supper, so 13 is a pretty good number.
I haven't verified it myself, though.
What's that?
I haven't verified it myself.
Okay, but at least other people who are listening to the show, because there's a couple of thousand people that download the show every week. So you might spike somebody's interest to actually go research this thing and go find the damn thing. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to spike people's brains and just try to fire it up a little bit and try to, hey girl.
Oh, so that's what it was, Carl. So it's Article 13 says everyone has the right to freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state.
Yeah.
It also says Article 2 starts in Article 13, everyone has the right to leave any country, including his own, and return to his country. So I don't actually think it states exactly what you're saying, but...
Yeah. But what I'm saying, that's the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta also says that.
Yeah.
The Magna Carta also says that the man has the right to leave his own country and state and has the right to come back.
Well, see, this first article could be ambiguous because it says that everyone has the right to freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state. Well, which state exactly? Is that North America? Is that the States? Is that Canada? Borders could be across the world. It didn't really define it.
A state is just a congregation of people who decide to get together on a landmass and determine to live under a certain set of rules and obligations.
Yeah, so a lot of people could confuse that thinking, oh, well, I live in Canada, so that doesn't apply to me. Because
you don't live in Canada. You live upon the ground of a socialized society that you guys agreed to congregate together and support and protect each other's property. See, it was funny when that Mark Stevens guy kept saying there's a $5,000 challenge for anybody who could define a state. Man, I defined a state just like I did there. I was like, holy shit. He said, that's like the perfect definition of state. I said, yes, sir. I got 4 different ways I could define it. But that one I think was pretty concise and clear. I said, so where's my $5,000? He says, well, I was the one who put up the challenge. It was one of my friends, and you could see him on YouTube, and he's the one who actually said it. I said, dude, you say it every effing week on your show. I'll give anybody $5,000 so they could define a state. I called up your show, and I gave you a hell of a perfect definition of what a state is. I said, now where's my money? I said, see, you're just a fraudster. I said, you put up or you shut up. And now you got to shut up. I don't ever hear this $5,000 challenge again. It's like, oh, well, what's the definition? Oh, what's a state? I just told you what a state is. Are you trying to tell me that like-minded people can't occupy a particular landmass and set up a certain set of rules and restrictions that bind each other, that you hold a duty and obligation to protect and secure each other's property from any foreign hostile invaders or even enemies within? I said, what part of that state definition don't you understand? I said, you want me to give you longer ones? And I gave him like 2 or 3 long ones. I said, what part of the word state don't you understand now? I said, it's simple. But this whole thing is a no state project. What do you mean there's no states? What do you mean? You mean you and me can't occupy an island and we could just say, let's secure and protect this much perimeter because this is as much as we could secure, because obviously this island is just too big, and honestly I don't even know what's on the other side of that mountain, and I really don't care, but how about we protect it and create this borderline, and we put up a wall, and we agree to protect each other's property, and we allow either visitors to come in or not come in under certain conditions. I said, setting up a state is so simple, it's scary. We've been doing it since caveman time. What's this? Oh, there's no such thing as a state. Okay, dude. Then it's the saying there's no such thing as me standing here on planet Earth either. I'm not really breathing, and I'm not really made of flesh and blood. Now you're just getting silly. We got to believe in something. We all got to have some sort of faith that something is real and something exists, or it's just going to be total lunacy. We got to set up a certain standards and conduct and ethics amongst each other, or it's just going to be, wild. It's going to be a free for all.
Say, Carl, he never did give you that. He never did pay you, didn't he?
What's that?
He never did pay you that money, didn't he?
Oh, nah. He said to me, he says, well, look, he actually sent me the link for the YouTube video. It was like at a Freedom Fest thing, and there was a guy standing next to him and said, I'll pay anybody. Like this guy was drinking a beer, had a beer bong and a pot. This guy was like 6'5", weighed like 300 pounds. I'll pay anybody $5,000 if they can prove to me what a state is. And like, oh man, I'll jump on that. But he was the one who was promoting it on his show. I was like, dude, get me on the show. It's like the first time I heard him say that. It's like, I'll give you a definition. I'll give you a definition 2-3 hours long what a damn state is, how to set up a state, what is a state, what's the duties and obligations, or what may they impose upon each other. Oh, dude, I'll run you for hours. For $5,000, I'll run you for hours.
Yeah, he got kind of quiet when you called him out because he really didn't know how to research what you said because he didn't know himself. So.
Because it's just a bunch of pot smoking hippies. Oh yeah, before I forget and go down to North Carolina, my buddy here. You guys know the Colbert Report, right? On Comedy Central, like Jon Stewart, and then they have Stephen Colbert. He does a comedy satire news show. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you guys ever seen the Colbert Report? Anybody? Well, look at the Colbert Report. It's a comedy thing. He actually did he did some national press convention that they have where they toast and they roast, they make fun of the President of the United States. He usually is the one who's the speaker. He's the one who's the toastmaster. And they rip on, Barack Obama, and they did George Bush, and he's a pretty good comedian. But anyway, he went up there he sent his people up to Keene, New Hampshire. And they said there's these porcupine people or whatever, Freedom Fest people up there. And he was explaining, what these people are all about. And that's what I did on somebody's video. Gus had somebody come down there. I don't remember what the man's name was. But I told him, I said, look, you're all drunk, you're all stoned, and you're all stupid and lazy. I said, it's a wonderful society that they've established. I said, they've been here for 300-400 years in Keene, New Hampshire. You clowns show up in the last 2 years, and you think, everybody should just be able to run around naked, smoke dope, and, park wherever they want, and, drive as fast as they want. And I said, why don't you guys just clear up, a section of, the woods out here in New Hampshire. There's millions of acres up here where nobody lives. Create your own porcupine town and see how long you people last. I said, there is no money. I said, look, stop invading these poor people's town. There's nice people. They have a nice lifestyle for the last 4 or 5 years. Go make your own freaking town. So it was fantastic. He did that this week. And he had the representatives of the porcupine people or the freedom people, the free king people. And at the bottom line, he was showing how ridiculous they were and how, like, the cops were nice and normal and decent and everybody up there was just like good old townspeople for the last 300, 400 years. Their grandparents were there. And he just said, so bottom line, we could all come to the conclusion that the free Keene people up here in Keene, New Hampshire are douchebags. That's what he said, douchebags. I didn't say anything that hateful on that guy's video. I just tried to say to them, look, you people, you're way out there. Nobody's going to respect you. What you're promoting and what your agenda is just ridiculous. I said, no normal man or woman is going to join up with you. You got to be like tree-hugging, toad-licking, pot-smoking hippies. I said, nobody wants to deal with it anymore. People want to use their debit cards. People want to be able to drive down a road and not be stopped every 5 feet by a cop. I said, we want to work with the other side. You people just want anarchy. I said, this is ridiculous. I said, go out in the woods and go build some teepees or something. Go hunt down some acorns. I said, but, this is a wonderful society. I can only imagine my grandparents or great-great-grandparents could have only imagined the opportunities I have that they never had. And like Gus was saying earlier with the courthouses, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and our great-grandparents built those public buildings for our benefit. It benefited them at the time. Yes, it's true. That made them work and had them, productive. It had them, making an income. They had they were gaining wages by their sweat off their brow. But they were producing this thing not to cause harm to man, but to be a benefit to man. So this is what I was trying to explain. You've got to call the public servants out and say, look, this is a public courthouse. You're a public servant. I'm the public. This building serves the people. Somebody asked me that this week. I said, did you realize why? That's the man I bet you who I was talking to, whoever the man I was talking to about this. I said, do you understand why the man was able to run into the White House about a week or two ago? Why the man was able to run into the White House and get one room away from the Oval Office, the green room he made it to. I said, do you understand why he was able to do that? And he was like, no. I said, because it's been the custom of the occupant of the White House to not lock the front door because it's the people's house. And he's a servant of the people. And if the people wish to come in, the people, all they have to simply do is come through the door. And he's there to serve. It's that simple. And he's like, wow, really? I said, the White House has always been unlocked. And he's like, I did not know that. And I said, well, how can't you know that? How can't you know that the White House has had this tradition forever to not lock the front door? He said, well, we thought it was locked. No, that's ridiculous. It's the people's house. It's not the king's house. It's the people's house. The people have right to access that house anytime they wish. Really? Yeah. The same thing that happened with Bali in England. When I said to them, I want to access this Queen's bench after hours. And it's like, then everybody's like, oh, you're crazy. You can't come in. Come back at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's like, no, I wish to, whole court now. I need access to the court. I need a public servant. I need a public magistrate. I need a public judge. I need somebody to stamp this damn piece of paper, and so our claim is could be moved on first thing in the morning. So they were like, well, come back after hours. Come back in the morning. I said, no, it's open now because I wish it to be open. The court is open to the Queen and to the people. And then, like I said, thank God they actually had a notice saying how to file out of hours, and I got that on my website, on that broadmind.org website. And thank God, like Polly's like, hey, Carl, you can't take pictures here. You can't use a video camera. You're going to get in trouble. It's like, yeah, and we'll see. It's my house. It's my building. I'm going to run the damn camera if I want to. That was lots of fun. When Bali asked the man, can I take video? And he said, no, take pictures. He said, no. So then I just clicked open my video camera and started rolling. And Bali and the guy was just looking at me. And I was like, da, da, da. And Bali whispers to me, he said, Carl, didn't you hear the guy? He said, you can't take video. He said, no, you can't take pictures. He didn't say that I couldn't take video. You asked if you could take pictures. He said, no. I didn't ask, can I take video? I said, I'm not stupid enough to ask a public servant what I can and cannot do. I'm a man. I can do whatever I wish. So Bali's like, huh, okay, this is different. I said, right, it's like the Queen. Can you imagine the Queen walking into the Queen's bench and saying, hey, you know what, is it okay if I take pictures? This is a lovely bench that is like titled under my name. Would anybody mind if I start snapping photos? Of course you wouldn't ask. She just start flipping it open and say, hey, oh, this is another one of my buildings? Oh, this is cool. Well, you got to act like it's one of your damn buildings. As long as you act like it's one of your damn buildings, they'll treat you like it's one of your damn buildings. If you act like you got to ask for permission for like a little child, they're going to treat you like a little child. They're going to tell you, no. Because if they tell you yes, like I say to people a million times, look, if they tell you yes, you could take pictures. What happens if you're taking pictures instead of stop watching where you're walking, and you trip and you fall down, and the camera goes through your eyeball or something like that, and then you're like, well, you told me I could do it. Look, since you told me I could do this, I really couldn't do it because I'm not capable because I don't have my balance, and I'm not going to hold you liable. So the best thing to always say is no. I mean, that's what I say to people. You have children, you're a parent, the first thing a kid comes up to you and says, hey, can I have, it's the first thing you say in your mind 99% of the time is no. The first instinct any parent has is, oh, no, here comes this fucking kid again. Oh, no, oh, my God, here we go. Daddy, can I? Oh, no, you can't. Because what's the odds of the kid I ever said, Daddy, can I give you a hug? No, the kid's always saying, hey, Daddy, can I have $5? Daddy, can I have the car? Daddy, can I have a lollipop? Daddy, can I have money? Oh, damn. Now what's this kid want? And so like I said, so public servants are so used to just saying anytime they hear the public ask him, can I, or I want to, the first thing they say is no. So obviously you say to the court clerk, well, I want to file this, or can I file this? They instinctively say no. You don't want any damn thing from them. You don't ask them, can you do it? You just say, I require you to do this. Well, this will be done today. Just like their boss would say, here's a case, file it today. Say, well, I want to file it. No, you wish to file it, or you require them to file it. Well, you tell him to file this to me.